Imagine you're walking through a dense prehistoric forest. You're exhausted, hungry, your senses are sharp because survival depends on them. You spot a bright red berry hanging right in front of you. Your brain lights up instantly. Eat it. Sugar, calories, immediate energy. Right next to that bush sits a small bag of seeds. If you take those seeds, clear land, plant them, water them, and wait 5 years, you'll have an orchard. Long-term security, consistent food, stability. Your brain doesn't care about 5 years. It says, eat the berry. That ancient survival wiring is still inside you. And in modern finance, it's the reason your emotions often win against your money. The ancient brain in a modern financial world. For most of human history, delayed gratification was dangerous. You couldn't afford to pass up immediate calories. You couldn't wait years for results. But the world has changed faster than our biology. Today, survival doesn't depend on grabbing berries. It depends on planting seeds, saving, investing, compounding. Yet your brain still prioritizes immediate reward over long-term stability. That's why buying something today feels satisfying, while contributing to a retirement account feels invisible. The orchard takes patience. The berry delivers dopamine. The dopamine trap. Smart investing is slow, repetitive, uneventful. Your brain hates that. It craves novelty. It craves movement. It craves stimulation. When a stock spikes 30% in a week, your nervous system reacts as if you've discovered a shortcut to freedom. When cryptocurrency trends explode on social media, your imagination races ahead of reality. You don't just see profit, you see transformation. This is hyperbolic discounting. You emotionally undervalue future rewards. $1 million decades from now feels abstract. A quick gain today feels powerful. So you chase excitement. But excitement is expensive. Why boring wins? The most effective financial strategies are painfully simple. Spend less than you earn, invest consistently, hold diversified assets. Wait. That's it. No adrenaline, no constant action, no dramatic moves. But your brain associates boredom with stagnation. It wants signals. It wants proof that something is happening. Compounding happens quietly. It doesn't announce itself. It grows slowly at first, then accelerates. The first $100,000 feels impossible. The second comes faster. The third even faster still. But you have to survive the boredom phase, and most people don't. Loss aversion, the fear that destroys wealth. Now let's talk about fear. The pain of losing money feels more intense than the pleasure of gaining it. This isn't weakness, it's hardwired psychology. When markets drop, your nervous system interprets it as danger. You feel urgency. You sell not because it's logical, but because it reduces emotional discomfort. You trade long-term growth for short-term relief. And that relief is temporary, because the moment you exit, anxiety shifts. Now you're worried about missing the rebound. Your emotions push you in both directions. Sell when prices fall, buy when prices rise. That's the exact opposite of disciplined investing. Volatility is not the enemy. Your brain sees price movement as instability, but volatility is not permanent loss. It's temporary fluctuation. Real risk is failing to grow your money over decades. Real risk is letting inflation erode purchasing power. Cash feels safe because it doesn't move, but over time it loses value quietly. Stocks feel risky because they move daily, but historically, diversified markets have rewarded patience. Your instincts evolve to detect immediate threats. Inflation is silent. Compounding is invisible, so your instincts misfire. Complexity bias and the illusion of sophistication. There's another trap, believing that complexity equals intelligence. If a strategy involves advanced terminology, it feels impressive. If it's simple, it feels naive. But wealth rarely requires complexity. It requires consistency. Complex strategies often serve one purpose, justifying fees. Simplicity feels unsatisfying because it doesn't flatter your ego. But ego and wealth rarely grow together. The illusion of control. You want to feel in charge, timing markets, picking trends, analyzing signals. Control feels empowering, but markets are influenced by millions of variables. Predicting short-term movement consistently is nearly impossible. Every time you trade, you introduce friction, taxes, fees, mistakes. In many cases, doing nothing is the most powerful move. Inactivity doesn't feel productive, but financially, it often is. Emotional spending versus emotional investing. This battle doesn't only happen in markets, it shows up in daily life. Impulse purchases feel rewarding, saving feels restrictive. Your brain associates spending with freedom. It associates saving with limitation. But saving is delayed freedom. The person who saves consistently builds optionality. They build choice. They build flexibility. The person who constantly consumes builds dependency. It doesn't feel that way at first, but over time, the patterns compound. Social pressure amplifies emotion. Modern life intensifies this conflict in ways our ancestors never had to deal with. You're not just fighting your own impulses anymore. You're fighting a 24/7 stream of other people's curated victories. Social media showcases promotions, luxurious vacations, new cars, investment wins, early retirement screenshots, and "I quit my job at 32" posts. You rarely see the debt, the stress, the leverage, the risk, and the years of failure behind those moments. You only see the highlight. And when you compare your quiet, steady strategy to someone else's highlight reel, it feels like you're losing, even if you're on track, even if your plan is working. Comparison creates emotional distortion. You start measuring progress in months instead of decades. You feel late. You feel slow. You feel like you're missing something. That feeling triggers urgency. Urgency pushes action. Action taken under emotional pressure often means chasing trends, increasing risk, abandoning discipline, or upgrading your lifestyle before your balance sheet is ready. Your emotions don't just fight your money internally, they fight it socially. They react to status signals, peer behavior, and cultural expectations. And if you're not careful, you start building your financial life around optics instead of outcomes. How to make logic win. You can't eliminate emotion. It's part of being human, but you can design systems that protect you from your own impulses. Automate your investments so you don't have to make a fresh decision every month. When money moves before you see it, you reduce friction and bypass temptation. Automation turns discipline into default behavior. Limit your exposure to financial noise. You don't need daily updates on market swings. You don't need constant reminders of what other people are buying. The more noise you consume, the more emotional your decisions become. Define your long-term goals clearly and specifically. Not vague ideas like "be rich," but concrete targets. Financial independence number, retirement timeline, savings rate. Clarity reduces emotional drift. Measure progress annually, not daily. Daily tracking amplifies volatility and anxiety. Annual tracking highlights growth and trends. What you measure shapes how you feel. Shift your reward system intentionally. Celebrate contribution milestones, not consumption milestones. Track net worth growth. Track investment consistency. Turn accumulation into achievement. Create small dopamine hits around smart behavior. When you hit a savings goal, acknowledge it. When your portfolio reaches a new milestone, recognize it. Train your brain to associate satisfaction with patience. Turn long-term wealth into a game of endurance rather than excitement. The objective isn't to feel the most stimulation, it's to build the most stability. When you begin to feel pride and restraint instead of thrill and risk, something powerful happens. Logic starts to override impulse. Discipline starts to feel empowering rather than restrictive. And that's when the balance shifts. That's when your money starts winning more often than your emotions. What actually wins? Your emotions will always react first. They're faster than logic, louder than logic, but they don't have to make the final decision. If you rely on impulse, fear, and excitement, your emotions win and your wealth suffers. If you build structure, automate discipline, and respect long-term math, your money wins. The orchard always outperforms the berry, but only if you resist eating it. Wealth isn't built by being fearless. It's built by understanding fear. It isn't built by eliminating excitement. It's built by recognizing when excitement is misleading. Your biology was designed for survival in the wild. Modern finance requires patience. Be the farmer. Plant consistently. Ignore noise. Trust the math. If this changed how you think about your emotions and money, drop a comment below. And if you want more psychology-driven financial breakdowns, like and subscribe. Because in the long run, the winner isn't the most excited investor, it's the most disciplined one.